Hi, Achim from InnerSpace Explorers. Today is a bit of a difficult one for me. Difficult because I'm responding basically to comments, and the video is about gas planning, and I make a bit of a comparison about gas planning by the book versus expedition gas planning. And the example I'll use is the last dive on my last expedition, the Let's Find This Wreck project. And the reason I'm doing this is that I had these two comments from a gentleman called Nikish. So I don't reveal that here, I mean he put his name under it, and did a bit of research. He's a petty master scuba diver. And he said, this is all fake because the wreck is a trawler and not a cargo ship. Yeah, you're right. The wreck in the thumbnail of the video is a trawler, and it sits in front of Hurghada in Egypt in crystal clear water, as you can see on the picture, and has nothing to do with the ship that I dove on. So I guess you missed the point. But hey, at least you put a comment on there. And then the next one was, it's not possible to do a 65-meter solo dive with so small stages. So first of all, I don't really get why a solo dive with the small stages should not be possible. Because if I dive with a partner, I obviously need more gas, as I will show in a minute. So the comment itself doesn't really make too much sense. The other thing is, the two small stages that you see is the first dive, and the second one, you didn't see me put my stuff in the water. But if you listen carefully, you realize that I had a bottom stage on the second dive. Anyway, it's always a pleasure to have these super intelligent comments. But that was not the main reason. There was a couple of people that asked me if I could show a little bit the gas planning for this dive, so that's what I want to do. So I put that down here. We have a 70-meter dive roughly, and I calculated it was 35 minutes of bottom time, which I did not have. But I was diving down the slope, so it was some sort of average. So 35 minutes on the bottom is super conservative. It's definitely not 35 minutes. But hey, let's stay conservative and have a little bit of safety margin. So the gas was 1560, so 15% of oxygen, 60% helium, 50% nitrox, and pure oxygen as decompression gases in these super small stages. And we were calculating with 20 liters per minute of breathing rate, which is also very, very, very conservative. I don't use 20 liters per minute. If I'm just hanging in the water, looking at fish, I probably use something like 9-10 liters. If I'm swimming around, 12 to 15, but 20 is really on the outer limit. So anyway, the way we calculate that is we think about, I mean, we don't want to do a traditional gas planning. I mean, a lot of people think of it like, I want to reserve 1/3 or half or 50 bars, whatever, in my tanks as a reserve. But the question is, reserve for what? I mean, how can you put out this number like 50%, 30%, 50 bars and reserve it for an incident that you don't know yet? So wouldn't it be smarter to calculate the worst case scenario, then plan accordingly how much gas do I need for this worst case scenario, and then see what's left, and then plan my dive according to what's left? That's a more safer approach. So that's what we're going to do here. So the worst case scenario, and we talk about a traditional dive, 2 people, 1 team doing this dive. So the worst case scenario is that one diver is out of gas at the maximum depth. So we calculate 1 minute to sort the problem. I'm out of gas, donate the long hose, sort your stuff, let's go up. 1 minute. Then we do an ascent rate, and we take about 10 meters per minute, so it's about 2 minutes up to 45 meters, roughly. That's 66% of the maximum depth. And then another 8 minutes to 21, we slow down our ascent rates to 3 meters per minute. So it's all rounded up, so we want to have nice round numbers. So that means we need 11 minutes to come up to the next breathable gas. Why? Because we always use for one failure. If that guy is at 70 meters and he lost his stages and his back gas, then something's really wrong. And yeah, that's like the aircraft with the 4 engines. What happens if 4 engines fail? Well, it falls down. So same thing here. So the guy's out of gas at maximum depth. You donate gas, you go up with the person, and at 21 meters he switches to his own deco stages. Boom. So if you calculate that, we say within 70 meters, you're out of gas, your partner's out of gas, you have stress, so your breathing rate goes up. So again, let's do it super conservative. So super conservative means we double the breathing rate, not 20 liters per minute, we calculate with 40 liters per minute. So 11 minutes, 40 liters per minute, average from 70 to 21 would be 45 meters, so 5.5 bars. And this multiplied by 2, because it's 2 divers breathing from the same tank now. That gives us 4,840 liters. That is roughly a full set of double 12s, or 135 bars in a double 18. That's the amount of gas you need for this ascent that you should reserve. So that's why, especially in this level 2 range, the concept of the bottom stage comes in super handy, because you don't touch your back tanks. Your back tank is your safety, so you just use 1 or 2 bottom stages and you're good to go. So looking at the decompression for this dive, that's 75 minutes. 7 minutes at 21, and don't nail me on these numbers. You can obviously shift this, you can do linear deco, whatever. I did a bit of S-curving, but that's not the point here. It's the overall numbers. So 7 at 21, 3 at 18, 6 at 15, 9 at 12, 12 at 9, and then 37 minutes at 6. And these 37 minutes would be split up in 12 on oxygen, 6 off, 12 on oxygen, 6 off, and so on and so on. In that case, that would already be 36 minutes, and then obviously you would do a slow ascent. So I'm not 37 minutes on oxygen, on pure oxygen on 6 meters, but it would be on and off. And in these 6 minutes off, I would breathe my bottom gas. All right, so if we calculate that, so we have 37 minutes from 21 to 9, and then 37 minutes at 6 meters. So 37 minutes by 15 liters. So again, conservative. I mean, you're hanging in decompression. If you still use 20 liters per minute, something's really off. So we calculate as 15 liters per minute, which is still a lot, always more than you need, times 2.5 bars, which is the average between 21 and 9, is 1,388 liters of 50%. That means that's a full 7-liter bottle. That's what you saw in the video, or what this gentleman saw in the video. So oxygen, 37 minutes, 15 liters per minute, times 1.6 bars at 6 meters is 888 liters of pure oxygen. That's 160 bars in a 40 cubic foot stage, which is the bottle that the gentleman saw in the video. So now, obviously, even the team dive works with the small stages. Obviously, what would not work is to do this with a partner and then have enough gas for the dive. Remember, I was alone. So that would be the normal planning, but just to show the comparison and obviously to show that the stages are not the problem in this dive, as in the stupid comment, the deco would still work. So now the question would be like, what happens if one of the two has lost his deco gas? Well, if you lose your 50%, you compensate it with your bottom gas. So the bottom gas, you obviously have plenty in reserve as your minimum gas, so that's by far enough to double your decompression on this deeper section, and do it with bottom gas. And the oxygen you still have. If you lose the oxygen, you have to double it with your 50%, and then you're again good to go. So, and you always have your partner, of course, in that scenario. So now if you look on the other hand of the solo expedition, same dive, 70 minutes, 70 meters, 35 minutes, 15, 60, 50% oxygen. I'm still just for the book calculating with 20 liters per minute, especially for our special friend there from the comment. I obviously don't need this minute to sort the issue. There is no issue with somebody. I realize, I'm low on gas, take my bottom stage, it's empty, whatever. I switch to my back gas. So I don't have to deal with another diver. So roughly I have 10 minutes to come up to 21 minutes. 2 minutes to 45, 8 minutes to 21. So 10 minutes by 20 liters per minute is 5.5 bars, is 1,100 liters. So 1,100 liters, that's 45 bars in a double 12. So even if I would say, okay, I still have stress and I probably need 30 or 40 liters per minute, it would be half. So still tons of gas. So now let's look at the dive itself. 70 meters, 35 minutes. That's 8 bars by 35 minutes by 15 liters per minute. Because as I said, I don't use 20. It doesn't make sense if I'm diving alone and I'm not responsible for somebody else to calculate with 20 liters per minute. It doesn't make any sense. I never ever in my life used 20 liters of gas per minute. So that's 4,200 liters of gas. That's 175 bars in a double 12. So even if I calculate it with 20 liters, just in case Mr. Nikisch is watching and coming up with some, oh, that's all fake. Yeah, that's 5,600. So a little bit more than a double 12. Yeah, on that particular dive, I was diving a double 12, but high pressure, so 260 bars plus a full bottom stage. So I had tons of gas. And yeah, as we saw, the decompression is the same thing. Doesn't change anything. I was still on my deco gases, so on my deco stages there was nobody else. So it's still super conservative. So it was not that I was leaving the water with empty bottles, and the dive was a little bit longer because it was playing around in the end. So when I was coming up, I was actually swimming at 6 meters, a very long way back to the boat, and then was looking around there a little bit. It was beautiful weather, beautiful conditions, lots of fish. I was just hanging out there, and I even had enough gas for that because my total dive time was, I think, 130 something minutes. So if you look here, 35 plus 75, so that's 100 something. So I had gas for another half an hour to play around in the water. So yeah, still very conservative, and obviously a huge difference regarding the amount of gas that you actually need compared to a partner, because when you have a partner, you obviously have to plan for the partner and the potential issue and the stress factor, which you don't have here. Nevertheless, we do not recommend that. But on the other hand, we have to be aware that there are certain dives at a certain level where you make the decision to do it alone. So when you saw the video and you think about it, then yeah, probably not very good to have a partner with you in a wreck where you can hardly move yourself and the visibility is almost zero. A partner doesn't do you any good. Alright, I hope this clarifies this. Mr. Nikisch, I'm waiting for your comments. And yeah, stay safe. See you next time. Bye bye.